بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
الحمد لله حمدا كثيرا طيبا مباركا فيه كما يحب ربنا ويرضى. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله الناصح الأمين. اللهم صل على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين ومن تمسك بسنته إلى يوم الدين. ثم أما بعد. Alhamdulillah, we continue to go over the outstanding book entitled Kitab Aqeedatut Tawheed by the Fadilatul Shaykh Al-Allama Shaykh Salih Al-Fawzan Hafidhahullah Ta'ala. In last week's class we went over the first chapter of the book, wherein the Shaykh Hafidhahullah Ta'ala, he outlined the reality that the Aqeedah is the foundation of the religion. He explained what is al-Aqeedah lughatan wa shar'an, and he touched upon its importance, and he outlined and showed how it is the foundation of the religion. The Aqeedah is the foundation upon which the deeds are built upon. The ulama, they point out that an example of this can be seen in the 5 pillars. In that, the 5 pillars, they begin with the Shahada. The Shahada of La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah. And this is because those 4 remaining pillars, they will not be accepted, nor will they be correct, unless the first pillar is established. Unless the first pillar is established. So this is an example to us to show us that the deen is built upon the sound Aqeedah. And if the Aqeedah is erroneous, then that which is built upon it will be null and void. But if the Aqeedah is Sahiha, then that which is built upon it will be Sahih, it will be accepted by Allah Jalla wa Ala. Ala kulli hal, the Shaykh Hafidhullah Ta'ala, he brings us to the next chapter, wherein he outlines, as the Shaykh he says, Al-Fasl Al-Thani, the second chapter, في بيان مصادر العقيدة ومنهج السلف في تلقيها. And this is the explanation of the sources of the Aqeedah and the methodology of the Salaf with regards to attaining it, or to learning it and studying it. And this is very, very important, as you find that these are principles that are vital to an individual's success in this life and in the next. And when one studies and he contemplates over these affairs, he will find that the problems that plague the ummah and the problems that plague the society, you will find that their source is a weakening or having deficiencies in this area. Ahlul Bid'ah, all of them, they have deficiencies in this area. And the calamity that has befallen the Ummah by the hands of Ahlul Bid'ah is well known, and it has been witnessed by the world. As an example is as the ulama, they point out, the Khawarij, for example, They commit acts of atrocity. And they do this while calling out and claiming it is in the name of al-Islam, which has led to many calamities that has befallen the general masses of the Muslims. From the unjust, from the unjust capture and detention of Muslims who are innocent and have nothing to do with any of these terroristic acts, to the justification of the kuffar to set up laws by way in which they enter into the Muslim lands and oppress the Muslims, from putting a bad image of Islam inside of the minds of the people so that they think and that they believe that the deen of al-Islam is a deen that supports violence, is a violent deen, is a deen that advocates barbarism, is a deen that is after the spilling of blood, and so on and so forth. And these things are not correct and they're not true. But in any event, they come and they have plagued the minds and have been a fitna and a test upon humanity due to the actions of the Khawarij. Due to the actions of the Khawarij. And we can also look at the toppling and destabilization of governments. All of this as a result of the hands of the Khawarij. Governments being toppled, lawlessness becoming rampant, people being murdered, women being raped, property being violated, people being robbed, and the like. And all of this stems from what? From the Khawarij, from the evil hands of revolting against the Muslim ruler and acting contrary to the Aqeedah of al-Islam, acting in contrary to the minhaj of al-Islam. Because as we explained and as we touched upon in last week's class, that the Aqeedah and the minhaj, they go hand in hand, just like the Shahadatain, or just like the Shahadatan. The Shahadatan, they go together. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. You can't take one and leave the other. It's not possible. If a person, he comes and he says Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, what? I don't want to make the next testimony. Then we say he's not a Muslim. The person, he comes and he says wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah, but I don't want to make the first testimony. Then we say he's not a Muslim. They go together. They go together. Likewise, the Aqeedah and the Minhaj, they go together. They won't be separated. This concept, as Ahl al-Bid'ah, they try to come with, and they say, oh, well, the person, he has good Aqeedah, but he has some Minhaj mistakes. He has good Aqeedah, but he has some Minhaj mistakes. Yes, granted. And we say to them, no, this is not correct. If his Minhaj mistakes have become apparent to us, then this is an indication that he has Aqeedah mistakes as well, even though we haven't seen them and they have yet to become apparent. But he has Aqeedah mistakes as well. An example of this, as we mentioned, or we touched upon, is like the example of Yasir al-Qadhi. For years, people have seen his Minhaj mistakes, right? But we know that he also has Aqeedah mistakes, even if they weren't apparent to the people. But now, or since we should say, he has made a covenant with the Sufiya, and as of recent has signed upon a document, as their sources say. We say as their sources say, because we don't go around them to be looking and worrying about what they're doing. We stay away from it. But according to their sources, that he was one of the signatories upon a treaty with the Shia, that they will foster a atmosphere of mutual respect, and they will not teach hate, to which he apologized to them for some words that he had said some years ago, which were deemed to be inflammatory against the Shia. This is clear, showing us that he has some mistakes in his aqeedah as well. And this is not surprising to us, because we have seen his mistakes in Minhaj for years. So we knew he had mistakes in Aqeedah. And this is just an example. This is just an example. His mistakes are not limited to this. This is an example. Or his signing with the Sufiya, the likes of Hamza Yusuf, Zayd Shakir, and the like. People who call to open concepts of kufr and shirk. They call to shirkiyat, kufriyat, and so on and so forth. So anyone that can have a quote-unquote agreement with them and so on and so forth, that doesn't allow either party to speak against the other party and so on and so forth, there's a sign that there's a mistake in this individual's aqeedah. Because the deen of al-Islam is a deen, and the aqeedah of al-Islam, it is that which it mandates upon those who know to make it clear. To make it clear what is the truth, and to make it clear what is falsehood. This is the deen of al-Islam. It's not that which comes with generalities and you leave everyone to think what they want to think and take it how they want to take it. But no, but we have to come and we have to strive our best to make the truth known and clear, and to support the truth, and to fight against the falsehood and make the falsehood clear. This is clear, right? Ala kullin, you find that these individuals, they don't worry about the likes of this, and this is just an illustration. And as one, or if their case was to be studied, we're not encouraging anyone to worry about what he is saying, but for those who have the ability and knowledge and so on and so forth, when his affairs are studied, you will find many infringements, many and many errors with regards to his aqeedah. Ala kulli hal, it is a must that we know, we understand these principles, and that we tread upon them in every aspect of our lives. So the Shaykh, he says, al-aqeedah tawqifiyya. That aqeedah is tawqifiyya. Tawqifiyya, this particular word, it comes from waqafa. Waqafa, al-waqf. Al-waqf, it means to stop. Al-waqf means you stop, right? And this is important. When we say tawqifiyya, al-aqeedah tawqifiyya, what does that mean? That the aqeedah, is that what you stop at? Yes, from the standpoint of what? As the Shaykh, he says, فَلَا تُثْبَتُ إِلَّا بِالدَّلِيلِ مِنَ الشَّارِعِ. That is not confirmed, it is not affirmed or confirmed except with a proof and evidence from the legislator, meaning Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or proof or evidence that comes inside of the Sunnah Mustafa sallallahu alayhi wasallam. But until then, we stop. And as Shaykh Salih Abdis al-Shaykh hafidhullah ta'ala, he mentions and he teaches in articulating the way of the Salaf and the ulama, as they taught this concept, that Ahlul Sunnah, we have a daleel, then we take a belief. Ahlul Sunnah, we have daleel, then we take a belief, right? Because it's what? It's tawqifiyya. We stop. How do we believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? We stop. We don't know until what? Until Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala informs us by way of His book or by way of His messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But until then, we cannot formulate a belief about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because upon what will we base our premise? We don't know. We don't have any information. So we can't take a belief we don't know. So we have to wait until we are informed, either by the book of Allah or by the sunnah of His messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Then we take a belief. This is the way of Ahlul Sunnah, is that we stop until we get a proof. Once we get a proof, then we proceed. Al-ilm qabl qawli wal-amal. Actions, they precede statements, knowledge precedes statements and action. The knowledge, it comes first. Then we act, and then we make statements. Right? Or then we make statements and then we act. But we have to know first. This is the way of Ahlul Sunnah. So this is what is meant by an aqeedah tawqifiyya. Aqeedah is that which we stop. We can't speak about the aqeedah except with proofs and evidences. Right? And the Shaykh, he says, وَلَا مَسْرَحْ فِيهَا لِلرَّأْيِ وَالْإِجْتِهَادِ. He said that the Aqeedah, it is not the arena for opinions and intellectual pursuits. That the Aqeedah is not the arena for opinions or intellectual pursuits. Right? I don't know about the educational system now, right? But when I was little, they used to encourage us that if you don't know something, then you should take an educated guess. This is what they used to say, right? If you don't know, then just take an educated guess and see. Try to figure it out intellectually and see what you come up with. Juyaanee, that may work in some dunya stuff. Wallahu a'lam. That can even be argued if that work in dunya stuff. I don't want nobody taking an educated guess on my computer, on my car. I'm just saying. But in any event, we know this definitely does not apply to Aqeedah. It definitely does not apply to Aqeedah at all. There's no such thing as educated guess. No such thing as Juyaanee, you try to figure it out, we come up with opinion. No, we stop until we get a proof of evidence. Once we get a proof of evidence, then we proceed. So the Shaykh, he says that it is not the arena for opinions, nor intellectual pursuits that result in whatever. What do you call them things? Theories. Right? Aqeedah is not for that. No, Aqeedah is not for that. The Shaykh, he says, وَمِن ثَمَّ, and from this standpoint, فَإِنَّ مَصَادِرَهَا مَقْصُورَةً عَلَى مَا جَاءَ فِي الْكِتَابِ وَالسُّنَّةِ. He says, so therefore, from that standpoint, with this being the case now, then we realize that the sources from which we take the Aqeedah, then they are restricted to that which has come inside of the Kitab and the Sunnah. It's restricted. There are not a million options on where you can take your Aqeedah from. You can take your Aqeedah from two sources: the book and the Sunnah, the Qur'an and the Sunnah. Right? That's it. You can't take it from any other way. There's no other way you can take it from. Right? And then the Shaykh, he points out and he gives some explanation and further explaining why. Why is it that we take our Aqeedah from the book and the Sunnah only? Right? How come we take our Aqeedah from the book and the Sunnah only? Why? The Shaykh, he says, لأنه لا أحد أعلم بالله وما يجب له وما ينزه عنه من Allah. It's very simple. The Shaykh, he says, because there is no one who is more knowledgeable about Allah, who knows better that which is due to him, and who knows better that which is to be disassociated from him, meaning from Allah. No one is more knowledgeable about Allah than Allah. So we have to wait. How do we believe in Allah? We have to wait until Allah informs us about Himself. Then we believe in that. For example, due to intellectual pursuits, quote unquote, and we have big quotations around this, because when one reflects upon it, he realizes that it is just pure foolishness. But from the limited mind of human beings, when it comes to where Allah Ta'ala is, many of them will tell you that He is everywhere. And they're basing this upon, or the premise of which they base this upon, is their limited understanding, and they're likening Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to creation. Because for the creation, in order for them to know what is going on, they have to be there in some which way, shape, form, or fashion. In order for them to hear, they have to be there in some which way, shape, form, or fashion. They have to be there. to know who's there, what they're saying, and so on and so forth. So these individuals, because they are limited in their intellects, they believe that the only way for Allah to be all-knowing is that He must be omnipresent. He must be everywhere. The only way for Him to know everything is that He has to be everywhere. But we know this is not correct. It is not correct to liken Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to His creation. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in His noble book, He informs us, لَيْسَ كَمِثْلِهِ شَيْءٍ. There is nothing that is like Him. There is nothing comparable to Him. And then Allah Jalla wa Ala, He says, وَهُوَ السَّمِيعُ الْبَصِيرُ. And He is the all-hearer, the all-seer. Right? He is the all-hearer, the all-seer. So we know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that there is nothing that is similar to Him. So the premise by which they have built their opinion upon is faulty. It's false. It's false. The premise of which they built their opinion upon is false. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not like His creation. لَيْسَ كَمِثْلِهِ شَيْءٍ. Allahu Akbar. Allah is greater. Subhanallah. Allah is far above and removed from that which they attribute to Him. What does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us in His noble book with regards to where He's at? Ar-Rahman al-Arsh istawa. That the most beneficent, He is above His throne. Sabbih isma rabbika al-a'la. That glory to the name of Him who is the most high. So Allah Ta'ala, He affirms inside of His book, Al-Ulu, that He is the most high, there is nothing above Him. Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, He confirms inside of His noble book that He is above His throne. And as we know, the throne is the last thing of the creation. So with Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala being above His throne, then we understand that what Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, He is not inside of the creation. The Creator is separate from the creation. Now, the Creator, He Himself is separate from the creation. It's not a part of the creation. So when we look at this now, we will look at the two opinions. We have one opinion that's based upon intellectual pursuits of human beings, and we have one opinion, or I don't want to say opinion, but we have the truth of the affair, and that's based upon the Qur'an. Which one are we going to take? The Qur'an. Because no one knows more about Allah than Allah. No one knows more about Allah than Allah. Now, and so on and so forth. There's so many examples we can bring from this particular standpoint. And then the Shaykh, he says, وَلا أَحَدٌ بَعْدَ وَمَا أَحَدٌ بَعْدِ اللَّهِ أَعْلَمُ بِاللَّهِ مِنْ رَسُولِ اللَّهِ صلى الله عليه وسلم. He says, and after this, and additionally, there is no one after Allah who knows more about Allah than the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Naam. So of course, when it comes to the Aqeedah, then we have to look to the teachings of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, because he has come to teach us and to convey to us the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So therefore, there is no possible source for our Aqeedah except for the Qur'an and the Sunnah. That's it. Because how else are we going to know about Allah? How else? Right? Is there any other way? Person can't sit and contemplate and just think about it. Sahwalillah. You can't just sit and lay down and think this is going to figure something out. You can't get a group of intellectual morons together and think we're going to sit around in a think tank and just figure it out. It's not going to work. It's not going to work. The only way we can know about Allah is by revelation. The only way we can know about the Jannah is by revelation. Only we can know about the angels by revelation. Only we can know about the prophets and messengers by revelation. Only we can know about the day of judgment, revelation. Only we can know about qadr, revelation. That's it. In every aspect of the deen of Islam. The only way we can know how we pray is by what? It's from revelation. Person just can't come and wing it. Do what he think he want to do. Fold his hands, right? Whatever, fold his legs. Whatever it is, the people that they do, that's wrong. You can't just come and just say you're going to figure it out. Nah, we know the salah by way of the Prophet ﷺ, he taught us. The Prophet ﷺ said, Sallu kama ra'aytumuni usalli. Pray as you see me praying. Not figure out, pray what you think. Whatever your father say, whatever your grandfather say, your uncle and them, it's okay. No. Pray the way you see the Prophet ﷺ pray. The only way that we can know how the Prophet ﷺ prayed is by way of what? It's by the Sunnah. In the time of the Prophet ﷺ, then the Sahaba, they had the tremendous opportunity of what? Of gazing and looking upon the Prophet ﷺ. They were blessed with the bounty of being able to see the Prophet ﷺ. So they were able to see the Prophet ﷺ and to imitate him from what they saw. Right? But for those of us who were born after the passing of the Prophet ﷺ, then the only way we can know how the Prophet ﷺ prayed is by what? Is by looking to his Sunnah. Looking to his Sunnah, that Sahaba, they transmitted to us. Right? And that's the only way we can know. Likewise, the same way with the fasting of Ramadan. Person, he can't come and say you can fast any way you want to fast. Right? You have some people, they fast, and that fast mean they just not going to eat chocolate, or they just not going to eat meat, or they not going to eat, I don't know, whatever it is they choose that they don't want to eat, and they call that fasting. It's not fasting. Or a person, they come and he say, we fasting just from food, but you could drink all the water you want. It's not fasting, right? Or a person, they come and he say that, okay, for all these days, day and night, we're not going to eat nothing. For day and night, for all these days, we're not going to eat anything. It's not fasting. But fasting is what? Is what the Sharia tells us is fasting. That's fasting. Nothing else is fasting. You can't draw near to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by anything else. Person decide he want to go on a water diet. You want to go on a pineapple juice diet. So I'm going to cleanse myself, pineapple juice diet. I'm going to draw near to Allah ta'ala by way of this. It's not from ibadah. Person go on a pineapple diet. It's not from ibadah. I'm just going to drink pineapple juice. It's not from ibadah. But the ibadah is what? Is that which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala taught us in the Qur'an, that which the Prophet taught us inside the Sunnah. That's ibadah. Likewise with zakat, a person can come and say, I'm going to pay zakat a quarter a year. He's a millionaire, so I'm going to give a quarter. I did my due, right? No. Islam has put upon you more than that. 2.5%. That's a lot more than a quarter. Right? But a person just can't make up what he want to make up and say, no, that's cool. No. We have to refer back to the Kitab and the Sunnah. Likewise, with Hajj, a person can't say he's going to make Hajj anywhere. Like the Nation of Islam, they make Hajj to Chicago. You hear me? They make Hajj to Chicago in December, on Savior's Day. They say that's Hajj. Yes, Salam. Hajj to Chicago. Really? That's Hajj? Yes, Salam. On Savior's Day. What is a Savior's Day? This ain't from the Deen of Islam. Yeah, Abu Bakr and Uthman and Umar talking about we gotta go to the Savior's Day. Some land across the Atlantic, off on the big lakes. That's Hajj. People can't just make stuff up. Likewise, they can't come to Mecca and decide they want to do what they want to do. Brothers in Mecca talking about I'm making Hajj, but then he stay in a hotel room the whole time. Watch the Hujjaj on TV. Say I'm making Hajj. Mentally, I'm there. I'm with him. He kicked back in a hotel. I'm there mentally. Look, I'm looking at the brothers, man. Look. They're making tawaf. I can see it on TV. I'm looking. I made Hajj, right? No, you made Hajj. You had vacation to Mecca. You sat up in a hotel. But it's not Hajj. It's not Hajj. The only way we know what the Hajj is what? By the Kitab and the Sunnah. The Prophet ﷺ, he said, يعني خذوا عني مناسككم أو كما قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم, he said, take from me your rights of Hajj. Take from me your rights of Hajj. So the Hajj is as the Prophet ﷺ, he taught us. That's the Hajj, nothing else. So everything in the Deen of Islam is like this. is built upon proofs and evidences. It's not built upon our whims, our desires, intellectual pursuits, and so on and so forth. But no, it's built upon adillah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says, يعني اتبعوا ما أنزل إليكم من ربكم ولا تتبعوا من دونه أولياء. Allah Ta'ala, He says, and follow that which has been revealed to you from your Lord, and don't follow other than it awliya. Awliya meaning those things that call you to something contrary to the Kitab and the Sunnah, or those individuals who call you to something other than the Kitab and the Sunnah. Don't follow these things, but you have to follow what? The Kitab and the Sunnah, that which has been revealed to you. That which has been revealed to you. The Qur'an and the Sunnah. That's what we have to follow. That's it. Naam, and that's what we take our deen from. Naam. And the Shaykh, he goes on, he says, so no one knows more. He says, after Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, no one is more knowledgeable about Allah than the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. He says, وَلِهَذَا كَانَ مِنْهَجُ السَّلَفِ الصَّالِحِ وَمَنْ تَبِعَهُمْ في التلقي العقيدة مقصورا على الكتاب والسنة. He says, so therefore, the methodology of the Salaf al-Salih, the rightly guided predecessors, and those who follow them, when it comes to taking and learning about the Aqeedah and attaining the Aqeedah, then it is that which is restricted to the Qur'an and to the Sunnah. It is that which is restricted to the Qur'an and to the Sunnah. فما دل عليه الكتاب والسنة في حق الله تعالى آمنوا به. So whatever the Qur'an and the Sunnah, they point us to with regards to the rights of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and about Allah, then we believe in it. That's what we believe in. نعم. وَاعْتَقِدُوهُ وَعَمِلُوا بِهِ. We believe in it and we act in accordance to it. Wherever the book points us, wherever the book and the Sunnah points us to, then that's what the Salaf, that's what they used to believe in, and that was they used to take as an aqeedah, and that was they used to work upon. نعم. وَمَنْ لَمْ يَدُلْ عَلَيْهِ كِتَابِ اللَّهِ وَلَا سُنَّةِ رَسُولِهِ صلى الله عليه وسلم نَفَوْهُ عَنِ اللَّهِ تَعَالَى وَرَفَضُوهُ. And whatever the book did not point to, whatever the Qur'an, whatever the book of Allah, the Qur'an, nor the Sunnah pointed to, then they used to negate this. They will negate it from Allah Jalla wa'ala, and they used to reject it. Not that they should negate it, they would negate it and they what? They reject it. They reject it. Naam. ولهذا, the Shaykh, he says, and due to this, لم يحصل بينهم اختلاف في الاعتقاد. He said, and due to this, there was never a difference amongst them with regards to belief. They never had an ikhtilaf in aqeedah. The Salaf al-Salih and those who follow upon their way, they never ever had a difference with regards to aqeedah. Never. The origin, they never differed about it. You never had some of them believe one thing, other one believe something else. No, they all believe the same. And it shows you the erroneousness and the falsehood of those who say that the Salaf used to differ in aqeedah. As an example, the likes of Siddiq Muhammad al-Hizbi. This individual, he said that the Salaf, they differed in aqeedah. The Salaf, they differed in aqeedah. Nah? And what was his intent behind it? First of all, we know it was a lie. It was a lie. He was trying to distort things and to misguide the people. That's clear. But what was his motivation in doing this? As we know, as the ulama, they explain that the motivation from the individuals who say the likes of these things is if they can get you to believe that the Salaf themselves different in aqeedah, then by default you have to be lenient and understanding to all those who differ in aqeedah. So you say, you know what? the Salaf themselves different in Aqeedah, so between me and Hamza Yusuf, it's okay, we different Aqeedah. He's Sufi, right? Zayd Shakir Sufi, it's okay. The Salaf different, so we can differ. That don't mean we can't work together. That don't mean we can't be one. That don't mean we can't cooperate, and so on and so forth, right? Yeah, some Shi'i different with us, but that's okay. The Salaf themselves different, so because the Shi'i different with us, don't mean we can't work together and cooperate with one another, and so on and so forth. But was this the understanding of the Salaf? No, the Salaf, they said what? Don't sit with the people of innovation. Don't talk with the people of innovation. Don't walk with the people of innovation. Why? Because they not only negated that innovation they were on, but they also what? They rejected it. You see? They rejected it. In every which way, shape, and form. They didn't want to hear it. Now, and this is something that is important for us to know. That working and cooperating with the likes of these individuals is not permissible. As Sheikh bin Baz, Imam bin Baz, rahimahullah ta'ala, he mentions that cooperation with the Shia is not possible. La yumkin. It's not possible that the Sunni will cooperate with the Shia. It's not possible. Cooperation with Ahlul Bid'ah is not possible. Period. When it comes to da'wah, to the deen of al-Islam, it's not possible. How do you work with them? It's not possible. Ala kullin, the likes of these individuals, the stray ones who say, and these ones who are falling into error, who say that the Salaf, they different in Aqeedah, you find that from the people of innovation, this is their motivation. To try to get us what? To all say it's okay to work with any and everybody. And we know this is not the way of Ahlul Sunnati wal Jama'ah. This is not our way. Now, wait. The Shaykh, he says, بل كانت عقيدتهم واحدة. He said, but you find that the Aqeedah of the Salaf, it was what? It was one. The Aqeedah of Sahaba was one. Everyone believed the same thing. وكانت جماعتهم واحدة. And you find that their society, you find that they themselves, they were what? They were united. Their hearts were united. They were together. Why? Because when their Aqeedah is the same, then the people are united. The people are united. The only time you find that the differing it comes is when people start giving in and falling victim and prey to desires, to false beliefs, to erroneous beliefs. Then you find separation. Why? Because you have a group of individuals who are holding on to the rope of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The one that's been overtaken by his desires and wanting to do what he want to do despite, then what does he have to do? He has to remove himself from the rope of Allah. The one who wants to follow the false beliefs and so on and so forth, then he has to do what? He removes himself from the rope of Allah. So they cause and they are the source of what? Separation. Not the people who bring distinction, not the people who make it clear what's the truth and what's false and so on and so forth. The people that try to come and say, oh, Ahlul Sunnah, you separating the people. And what they intend, they mean in a bad way. Because you have a separation that is bad. Right? They try to blame us with this. But you have another separation that is good. That separation that is good, that's separating between the truth and the falsehood. The people upon the Sunnah from people upon Bid'ah. The people who are sticking to the Sunnah from the people upon Hizbiyah. The people of Al-Islam from the people who are upon Shirk and Kufr. Now, that type of separation, that's good. That's a good separation, But they try to, when they say separate, they mean the blameworthy separation. They're trying to say that you people of the Sunnah, you bring about blameworthy separation. See, now all the Masjid can't be together because you guys, you don't want to come over here with the Tablighi, you don't want to come over here with the Sufi, you don't want to come over here with the Ikhwani, and the like. It's okay, we take from Abu Ishaq al-Hawaini. How come you guys in Masjid Bukhaari want to work with us? Why we don't want to work with you? Because like you said, you take from Abu Ishaq al-Hawaini, the Takfiri, Hizbi. That's why we ain't working with you. We're going to work with Ahl Takfir. We're going to work with the Hizbi people. Period. So don't blame us, blame you. Because you're the one that's acting contrary to the Sunnah. Ma'am? This is an example. This is an example. Not restricted to these, but in every case where it applies. Ma'am? Ala kullin. So now, the blameworthy separation, no, we're not guilty of that. However, the praiseworthy separation, we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us from those and to utilize us and to bring about the praiseworthy separation, showing the sunnah from the bid'ah, showing the people what is tawheed from that which is shirk, showing the people what is right from that which is wrong. And then those who want to follow that which is correct, and they know what to do. Those who want to stay upon that which is incorrect, well, we don't want nothing to do with them. We ask Allah Ta'ala to make us of those who help to establish this noble thing. But that's a good thing. And we like that. We like that. Now, the praiseworthy separation, we like that all day. May Allah Ta'ala make us of those who are able to establish the likes of that. Ameen. The Shaykh, he says, so their society was one. لأن الله تكفل لمن تمسك بكتابه وسنة رسوله صلى الله عليه وسلم باجتماع الكلمة, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He has placed it as binding upon those who stick to His book and the sunnah of His messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, to unite in word, to be united and have unity. So those who are upon the sunnah, it is binding that they have unity. Those who are Salafy, it's binding that they be together. There's no room for separation. There's no room for disharmony, not between the people who are upon the sunnah. Anytime you may see anything hinting towards this, is because somebody is following desires. Somebody's not doing what they should be doing. But when you find everyone doing what they should be doing and that, then they're going to be together. They're going to be together. They have to be together. If problems and issues arise, as they may arise, from a personal standpoint, two people just may not get along. It's possible. Two good people just don't get along. It's possible, right? But Ahlul Sunnah, we know how to put those personal differences to the side, right? And work together in harmony, and calling the people to the book of Allah and the sunnah of His messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Which means that maybe afterwards, maybe we won't drink tea together, right? We still love each other. We still one, we still together. We still cooperate, right? But it may just be our personalities are such that if you put us in a room for too long together, we're going to start arguing over stupid stuff. Why you put 3 sugars in my tea? I only told you 2. You know, that's all the stupid stuff. Why you put cream in my coffee? I ain't say I want cream. You know, dumb stuff. Why you eat my donut? I told you jelly one was mine. Right? They be arguing with dumb stuff, man. Take the French quirl or twist, whatever. I don't want that, man. I told you I want the jelly one, man. Not the Boston cream. I got chocolate on it. I don't want that one. You know, just arguing with dumb stuff. Right? And that. But our hearts are together. We're together. We ought to be together. The Shaykh, he says, وَالصُّوَابِ فَمُعْتَقِدْ, that they're together and they're one and they're upon the correct beliefs. وَاتِّحَادِ and minhaj, and there's a oneness and there's a harmony in their methodology. There's a oneness and a harmony inside their methodology. Why? Because they're all sticking to the book and the sunnah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says, وَاعْتَصِمُوا بِحَبْلِ اللَّهِ جَمِيعًا وَلَا تَفَرَّقُوا, and hold all of you together to the rope of Allah, and do not separate, do not divide. Allah Ta'ala, He commands us in this ayah with unity. We have to be together. Upon what? Upon the haqq. We have to be together upon the haqq. See, not unity just for the sake of unity, just being together for the sake of being together. But this one has erroneous beliefs, and this one has erroneous methodology. No. But we come together because we're all upon the haqq. We're all upon the truth that comes in the book and the sunnah. We're all upon the haqq. Our beliefs, our mu'taqid is one. We all believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala correctly, in His angels correctly, in His books correctly, in His messengers correctly, in the day of judgment correctly, and qadr correctly, so on and so forth. That everything goes back to the book and the sunnah. Everything goes back to the book and the sunnah. This is our agreement. This is our agreement. Now, and when you have individuals who are like this, it's always going to be harmony, even if they differ on issues from the furu'ah. We talked about last week, you have the usul of the deen, you have the furu' of the deen, right? You have the foundation of the deen, the aqeedah, the minhaj, there's no ikhtilaf in that. And then you have the furu' of the deen, like the fiqh. Okay, in fiqh is the area we can differ in. After ruku', this one he put his hands down on his side, The other one put his hand on his chest. طيب. And tashahhud, this one he move his finger, this one keep his finger straight. طيب. We can differ in these things. We don't separate one another because of it. We don't say, nah, this match is only for people who move their finger. Right? Nobody saying that like that. Right? Right? No, because we can differ in these things. Because you know what? Even when we differ in these things, it doesn't disturb the harmony. Because like Sheikh Muqbil, Imam Muwadi'i, rahimahullah ta'ala, he said something tremendous. He said, even if our brothers, meaning from the Salafis, even if they come to a different opinion, right, with regards to an issue of fiqh, with regards to an issue of fiqh, even if they come to a different opinion with regards to an issue of fiqh, he says, we don't separate or divide over it because we all agreed upon the origin. And what's the origin? Is that we base our opinions upon the proofs and evidences. Huh? The Imam, rahimahullah ta'ala, he mentions that every individual, Allah ta'ala has given him a different level of intelligence. You have some people who are just more intelligent and smarter than others. Some people may have access to more proofs or works than others, and so on and so forth. He said, but as long as everyone worked their best to understand the proofs and the evidences as best as they possibly could, and then they reached a conclusion based upon the proofs and the evidences, then we don't separate and we don't take any issue with him, even though his conclusion may be different than our conclusion. Even though we may be looking at the same hadith, but he understand it like this, because you have from the ulama and the salaf those who understand it like that, and we understand it differently, because you have from the salaf and the ulama those who understood it differently. But it's the same hadith. We don't separate, we don't have this unity, we don't have this harmony. Why? Because we are working upon the origin, the principle. Is that what? Is that we take everything back to the proofs and the evidences. So there's no disharmony. Shaykh Al-Bani, rahimahullah ta'ala, Imam Al-Bani, rahimahullah ta'ala, he said that you will find that no one differs with me more than my brothers in the Hijaz. Right? And who is he talking about? He was talking about the likes of Sheikh bin Baz and Sheikh Uthaymeen and so on and so forth. Right? He said no one differs with me more than them. But how do we know what the differing was in? The Shaykh, he says, but our hearts were united. He said because our origin is the same. So we understand that what he was talking about, there was differing in was in what? Was in fiqh. Was in fiqh. Shaykh Al-Bani, he says after ruku' you put your hands down. Shaykh bin Baz, he says after ruku' you put your hands back upon your chest. Right? It's a difference in fiqh. But their hearts were what? Were united. They were one. Why? Because their origin was one. Their aqeedah and the minhaj was one. So although they had difference of opinion in fiqh, and from a scholastic standpoint, they would speak about the differing that they had and so on and so forth, but you find that what? They were united. They were one. They were together. They loved each other. They didn't have any malice, any hatred or enmity amongst each other, any disunity, disharmony. No. They were together. Why? Because their origin was one. That's the way Ahlul Sunnah. That's the way Ahlul Sunnah. Ma'am. Is that in those areas that we are not allowed to differ in, we don't differ. And the areas that we are not allowed to differ in is in what? Aqeedah, minhaj. The origin, we don't differ. We're not allowed to. And in those areas that we are allowed to differ in, like fiqh, right? Then we might differ in fiqh. It's possible. Our imams, the four imams, Imam Abu Hanifa, wa Imam Malik, wa Imam Shafi'i, wa Imam Ahmad, did they all have the exact same fiqh opinions? No. But they all imams of Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah. Huh? Did Imam al-Bukhaari have the exact same fiqh opinions of Shaykh al-Islam ibn Taymiyyah? No. But they all are ulama from Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah. As an example, Imam Bukhaari, rahimahullah ta'ala, it was his opinion that when you go to ruku', you put your hands down before your knees. And it was the opinion of Shaykh al-Islam ibn Taymiyyah, rahimahullah ta'ala, that when it was the opinion of Imam al-Bukhari that when you go to sujood, not ruku', we said ruku', right? guys gotta be man sharper than that. Say, nah, ruku or sujood. Nah, then when you go to sujood, you put your hands down before your knees. This was the opinion of who? Imam al-Bukhari. Shaykh al-Islam ibn Taymiyyah, it was his opinion that when you go to sujood, you put your knees down before your hands. Right? They both are ulama, they both are imams of Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah. Sahulillah. Naam. They both base their opinions upon proofs and evidences. Right? So there's no harm. There's no disunity. There's no disunity. You understand? Because the origin is the same. So in those areas that we can disagree in, like fiqh, then we disagree in it. But we maintain the harmony, the unity, as Shaykh Fawzan, he mentions, after speaking about this particular issue of going down to sujood, either hands first or knees first, inside his explanation of Bulugh al-Maram. At the end of the discussion, he said, but this is not an issue by way in which that we will have disunity over it and enmity due to it. He said, because it's not an issue from the standpoint of what's accepted and what's not accepted. He said, because all the ulama agree that no matter how you go down to sujood, whether hands first or knees first, your salah is correct. It's still accepted. No one differs about that. No one. Okay? He says, so we don't differ or we don't separate and have this unity, this harmony over likes of these things. No. He said, we speak about them from an intellectual standpoint, scholastic standpoint, to see which is better, which is more preferred, and so on and so forth, but not from the standpoint of what's accepted and what's rejected, because everyone agrees that all these things, both of them are correct, meaning your salah is correct. Now, either way. Ala kulli hal, because the way of the people of al-Islam, the way of the people of the Sunnah, is that we have to be one. Have to be one. وقال الشيخ الإسلام ابن تيمية رحمه الله تعالى. This is important. We need to understand this one. This is a very important, very, very important statement. He says, البدعة مقرونة بالفرقة كما أن السنة مقرونة بالجماعة. He said that bid'ah is connected to separation and division, disunity. Okay? So what's linked to separation and disunity and that? What is it? Bid'ah. Bid'ah. Bid'ah is linked to separation and disunity. He said, just like the sunnah is linked and connected to unity. See, the sunnah is connected to what? To unity. We want unity amongst the Muslims. Then the Muslims have to come together upon the kitab and the sunnah. The way the Salaf of the Ummah understood it. They have to come together upon the sunnah. Nah, that's it. That's going to bring the Muslims together. Nothing else. Only that. Coming together upon the truth. So when those who are adherents and those who adhere to the truth, then by default there have to be those who what? Who are unified. Who are together, who are unified. Now, this is something that is of tremendous importance, and this is a great principle that we have to know, understand, and remember. بإذن الله تعالى. وقال تعالى, and Allah Ta'ala, He says, فإما يأتينكم مني هدى فمن اتبع هدايا فلا يضل ولا يشقى. Allah Ta'ala, He says what means, and if there were to come to you our guidance, or if there were to come to you now from us guidance, then whoever follows my guidance, then he will not go astray, nor will he be sad. The one who follows the book and the sunnah, he won't go astray and he won't be sad. Right? Because we are all bound by that which comes in the book and the sunnah. Right? That which is haram, we don't have allowance to make a concession for it. Right? Like if a person came and he's saying, but I can't, I'm going through hard times, survival right now, I gotta sell drugs on the corner. We can't say that's okay. We're not allowed to. It's haram. It's haram. When something is haram, as the person said in the informers, when something is made haram, then the price of it is also haram, meaning that whatever money or profit you get from it is haram. You can't sell it. It's haram, right? So no matter the circumstance, no matter what it is, we can't say it's okay. We're not allowed to. It's Allah's deen. We can't speak about Allah Ta'ala's deen from ourselves. We're only that which comes in the book and the sunnah. Now, likewise, when the kuffar, they come and they say, but you Muslims have to compromise. It's okay, no problem. We'll compromise. Islam allows us to compromise. But we'll compromise as much as Islam allows us to. We'll compromise as much as Islam allows us to. Right? So he say, no, we want you got to compromise, man. You got to shave your beard down. See, we're not allowed to shave it down. Islam doesn't allow that. Right? But because on your ad or whatever, your company, dress code, you say you have to be clean look. Right? Have a clean look. Okay? So, from that compromising that Islam allows us to do, I'm going to make sure I well groom my beard. Make sure I shampoo it, I condition it, I deep condition it, I put any good grease in it, coconut, whatever, you know what I mean? You put it in it, I comb it, keep it combed, I keep a comb and brush on me all times. Right? Now you think I'm playing, man. Look, for real. You gotta look, man. I think I'm playing, man. Look at that. You gotta keep it neat, you know what I'm saying? Right? So you say with this, I can do that. I'll make sure. Every time I make wudu, I'll grease it again, I'll comb it, brush it, I look clean, man, clean. Right? But that's what clean is. Really, reality, what is clean is looking clean, not looking like a woman. See, there's a difference. You say, even the verbiage is different. Look clean, look like a woman. No, see, your things say look clean. They don't say look like a woman. Because if they say like a woman, I wouldn't have worked here. You understand? They say look clean. So I'm looking clean. That's it. So like that, we can compromise. Right? But anything that is beyond what Islam allows us to do, you can't do it. Why? We're not allowed to. We're not allowed to. So we can't do it. We won't do it. We don't apologize till we ain't do it. Right? Like a person, they come and they say, but don't call the Jews and Christians kuffar. What else are we going to call them? Allah calls them kuffar, so they kuffar. Right? That's it. We can't compromise with you on that point. They're kuffar. Allah calls them kuffar. So they kuffar. Right? And so on and so forth. So we compromise as much as Islam allows us to compromise. We don't go beyond that. This is something that is very, very, very important. Because if we were to do this, we were to stick to the guidance that has come from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we won't go astray. Nor we will be sad. Nor we will be sad. See, Ahlul Bid'ah, they're going to be sad, man. They may have a big house now and a big masjid that they bought on riba, like the one down the street. Right? They might be living it up right now, but they're going to be upset. Because the Prophet ﷺ, he told us what's going to happen at the hell. Imagine now, Yawm al-Qiyamah, all the trials and tribulations, a person, he done made it through it, got through it. All the trials and tribulations. Right? Then he gets to the hold of the Prophet ﷺ, and he want to drink. And then the angels come and snatch him away. Angels come and snatch him. Right? And then the Prophet ﷺ, he will call out. He will say, but they're from my ummah. They're from my ummah. And the angels will respond, you don't know what they did after you. Right? And then the Prophet ﷺ will say, away with them. Or translate it means, okay, away with them then. And they'll be thrown into hell to be cleansed. Because what? Because of the bid'ah that they did. So they're going to be upset. Whereas those who stick to the sunnah, they're going to be happy. Even if they had hard times, even if they had difficulties in this world, it's not going to mean nothing. They're going to be able to drink from the hole. They're going to be those who are safe. They're going to be from the safe sector. And for this point, the Shaykh, he says, وَلِذَلِكَ سُمُّوا بِالْفِرْقَةِ النَّاجِيَةِ. And from this point, they have been called the safe sector. Right? The safe sector. They're safe. لأن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم شهد لهم بالنجاة حين أخبر بافتراق الأمة إلى 73 فرقة. He said the Prophet ﷺ, he bore witness that they will be successful when he informed us that the ummah will split and it will divide. كلها في النار إلا واحدة. The Prophet ﷺ said all of them will be in the fire except for one. ولما سئل عن هذه الواحدة, and when the Prophet ﷺ, he was asked about this one, that this one saved sect is one that will be saved, قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم هي من كان على مثل ما أنا عليه اليوم وأصحابي. He said they are those who are upon the like of what I and my companions are upon today. They were upon that guidance that was sent down from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They were upon the kitab and were upon the sunnah. So they are not going to go astray, and they're not going to be sad, but they're going to be happy and what? Guided. Happy and guided. Right? And this is dalil right here. And this hadith has been collected by Imam Ahmad in his Musnad. There comes another narration of this hadith that its chain is more authentic than this particular chain, and the Prophet ﷺ described them as al-jama'ah, the group, those who are together, who are upon unity, which shows you an intrinsic characteristic of the people of the Sunnah is that they are united. The Shaykh, he says, وَقَدْ وَقَعَ مِصْدَاقٌ مَا أَخْبَرَ بِهِ صلى الله عليه وسلم. He said, and there has already happened a confirmation of that which the Prophet ﷺ, he informed us of. It's already happened. We have seen the ummah break and divide. We have already seen that which is taking place. We've already seen that Ahlul Sunnah, that they are the ones who are successful. Right? Ahlul Sunnah, they're the ones who are successful. In the time of Imam Ahmad, who was successful? Imam Ahmad, the Imam of Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah, he was given a success. Imam Ahmad, rahimahullah ta'ala. At the time of Ibn Taymiyyah, who was given a success? Shaykh al-Islam Ibn Taymiyyah. Even though he died in jail, somebody come in and said, but he died in prison. His enemies had him locked up from lies and fabrications. He died in prison. That's true. But he was still successful, because the works and the books of Shaykh al-Islam Ibn Taymiyyah are still here. Everybody knows Shaykh al-Islam Ibn Taymiyyah. With regards to his opponents, his enemies at that time, nobody but the historians know their names. Right? The vast multitude of the Muslims and the people, they don't know who they were. They don't know their names. Their works aren't cherished and advised reading, and so on and so forth. So at the end of the day, who was humiliated? Them. Ahlul Bid'ah. They were the ones humiliated. Whereas the Dawah Shaykh al-Islam, it was successful. Why? Because it was the haqq. It wasn't anything new. It was that which the Prophet ﷺ and the Sahaba were upon. And the haqq is always victorious over the falsehood. The truth will always prevail. Always. Always. Because the final of the affairs for those who are upon the truth. Now, the Shaykh, he says, فإنما بنى بعض الناس عقيدتهم على غير كتاب والسنة. He said, and also this has come to light and has been confirmed once the people, they built their aqidah upon other than the book and other than the sunnah. The Shaykh, he says, من علم كلام, from the knowledge of kalam, rhetoric. People will come with rhetoric, right? A lot of stuff, it sound good, but it's a bunch of nothing, right? And philosophical nonsense that has nothing to do with reality. And the Shaykh, he says, وَقَوَاعِدْ الْمُنْطَقِ الْمَرُوثَيْنِ أو مَرُوثَيْنِ عن فلاسفة اليونان. He said, or they built their deen upon the principles of muntaq, or it's translated as rationalism, or which these things, the ilm al-kalam and these principles of rationalism, is that which they were inherited from the Greek philosophers. You have people who they base their ideology and their philosophy upon that philosophy of the Greek philosophers, right? Plato, Socrates. I don't think that needs any more explanation. Somebody want to quote the works of Plato and Socrates, and that we have the book and the Sunnah. That's why they're so messed up. These individuals, once they have done this, following this rhetoric and these false principles of rationalism that they inherited from the Greek philosophers, hasra inhiraf. Then disunity started to happen. The Muslims started to become disunited, what do you say? Disunited, or disunity started to plague the Muslims, right? وَتَفَرُّقْ, and separation started to come fil i'tiqad. Separation started to come inside of the Aqeedah. Yeah, some Muslims believing differently because they were affected with these false principles. نعم مما نتج عنه اختلاف الكلمة, and that which resulted from this was a separation in our word, meaning we were disunited. The nation, the ummah, became disunited. وَتَفَرُّقْ الْجَمَاعَةِ, and our main body was broken into sectarian factions, broken up, and came about disunity. نعم. وتصبع بناء المجتمع الإسلامي, and you found that the body of the Islamic society is split. That the Islamic society is split. So a person looks around and he says, well, how come the West has so much dominance over the Muslims in this time, right? Then you can link it back to the prevalence of bid'ah in this time, because bid'ah is that which allows separation. It causes separation. Bid'ah, as what Shaykh Islam said, maqroona, firqa, it is connected to separation. When bid'ah comes, separation comes. When bid'ah comes, separation comes, right? It's like ice cube, right? It's connected to coldness. Everybody ever get an ice cube, say, man, that's a hot ice cube. The ice cube hot. That ever happen? Nah, it's always cold, right? Just like the red fire, the red coal, charcoal, when you get it red, you get red, right? It's always hot. No one ever come and grab a bright red charcoal and say, man, this is too cold to cook something on it. Let me just move it and just grab it with his hand, like full hand. I ain't talking about like the little fingers and that. No, he grabbed a full hand, the palm right in the middle, all his fingers, grab it hard. Does anyone do that to a hot coal? No, because it's always what? Hot. It's always hot. So likewise with the bid'ah, when the bid'ah comes, it always brings disunity. Always. That's why the people of innovation are so what? They're so evil. They're so evil. Because when they get their way in that, this is how the kuffar, they come upon us now. Right? And for those that grew up in this land, you know from when you was little, in social study class and that, was a phrase that you heard a long time ago. What? Divide and conquer. I heard it when I was so young, I can't remember how young. First time I heard it. That's how young it was. It was like one of my earliest memories in school. That phrase. Divide and conquer. They were indoctrinated. That's their way. Divide the people and conquer them. You want to divide the people? Support the people of innovation. That's it. They'll do the rest. Because they divide. And that's why they're so evil, these individuals who are given into intellectual rhetoric and rationalism that they got from the Greek philosophers and so on and so forth. This is horrible. Listen what Imam al-Shafi'i rahimahullah ta'ala, he said about these particular individuals, these ones who want to go on quote unquote intellectualism. He's saying quote unquote because in reality it's not intellectualism. has nothing to do with intellect, because the right intellect is going to coincide with the Sharia. But you have these individuals who, they're quote-unquote intellectual pursuits, pseudo-intellectuals, intellectual morons, and so on and so forth. They philosophize themselves into a hole and into destruction and loss. Now, these individuals, Imam Shafi'i, he said about them, he said, Hukmi fi Ahl al-Kalam. This is Imam Shafi'i, rahimahullah ta'ala. He said that my ruling, when it comes to the people of Kalam, to these people who take to intellectual rationalism, they don't want to take from the proofs and the evidence from the book and the sunnah, but they want to, think it out, for lack of a better term. Imam Shafi'i said, my ruling with regards to these individuals, in yadribu bil jarid wal ni'al, he says is that they should be beat and struck with the palm branches and sticks and with the shoes. This is Imam Shafi'i, one of the 4 Imams, rahimahullah ta'ala. He said, my ruling when it comes to the people of intellectual rhetoric is that they are to be beat with palm branches and sticks and with shoes. وَيُطَافُ بِهِمْ فِي الْقَبَائِلِ وَالْأَعْشَائِرِ, and they should be paraded around to every village and to every tribe. Take them to every tribe, every village, every town, every province. And not just you taking them there, showing them to the people. As you take them to these places, they're getting beat with sticks and palm branches and shoes. Everywhere they go, they're getting beat. Right? And then Imam Shafi'i, he said, وَيُقَالْ, and then it should be said, هَذَا جَزَاء مَنْ تَرَكَ الْكِتَابِ وَالسُّنَّةِ وَأَقْبَلَ عَلَى الْكَلَامِ. He said, and it should be said, while you parading them around and beating them in every province, this is the reward for the one who leaves the book and he leaves the sunnah and he accepts philosophical rhetoric. Serious. That shows you what Imam Shafi'i thought about them. And we know that there was no difference in how Imam Ahmed and Imam Malik and Imam Abu Hanifa and Imam Awza'i and Imam Sufyan al-Thawri thought about them. They all believed about them the same way. The same way. And this can be found in Al-Fatawa Al-Hamawiyya on page 211. This is how the people of innovation, the people of intellectual rhetoric and kalam, this is what they deserve. This is what they deserve, right? Because the harm that comes from them is so great and is so detrimental. So this is what they deserve. Ala kullin, we have to base all of our religion upon the book and upon the sunnah. This is something that is tremendously important, upon proofs and upon evidences, not upon intellectual pursuits of rhetoric or Greek philosophy or whatever else philosophy. Someone can bring whoever, Confucius, whatever. No one's going to bring the art of war and say this is going to be our philosophy. No. Art of war is not our philosophy. Our philosophy is the Kitab and the Sunnah. We don't need no art of war. We don't need nothing from Carnegie or any these other kuffar. You see? Like Shadi Muhammad, he encourages people. Book by Carnegie. What are you talking about, book by Carnegie? Nobody needs a light to these things. We have what we need. The book and the Sunnah. The book and the Sunnah. That's it. We don't need none of this other nonsense. All we need is the book and the Sunnah. Ala kulli hal, it is important that we base all of our deen upon these principles and these foundations. And these opening chapters, they are very important, and I want everyone to really pay close attention to them, because this is upon or these principles is that which we're going to build the Aqeedah, our Aqeedah upon. As the Shaykh explains aspects of the Aqeedah in the book, this is what we base upon these principles, that it has to be built upon the Kitab and the Sunnah, has to be built upon the Adillah, the proofs and the evidences in all of our deen, all of our life, and we will find that we apply this to our lives, we will not go astray, nor will we be sad. فنكتفي بهذا القدر، وصلى الله وسلم على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. جزاكم الله خير.